from the Denver Broncos Media Center, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight with Ryan Edwards and Benjamin Allbright.
Welcome to Broncos Country Tonight. Unfortunately, breaking down a Broncos loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, 30-13. And in this one, Ben, it's like all the details, all the work that they did against the Cowboys, the momentum they had built, it kind of just all got sent away. And in this one, you gave up 214 rushing yards on defense. The Eagles more or less moved the ball at will. And the Broncos offense, especially in the first half, really, even though you got the 10 points, you're 1 for 5 overall in the red zone, 1 for 11 on third down. Like I said, it's just, you know, the whole death by inches. This was death by inches. You were consumed by the inches in this game. And certainly going into the bye week, there's a lot of things to clean up.
Yeah, there are, and this is a squandered opportunity for the Denver Broncos. You know, you go back and look at what the rest of the AFC West did yesterday. Broncos could have been in prime position to be in first place with a win at home against a team that had 3 wins coming in.
Yeah, they had the same record, I believe, or I think the Chiefs only have 4 losses, so the Broncos would have had 6. They would have been 6-4. Yeah, they'd have been the same record. Yeah.
So, you know, just one of those missed opportunities. And then you go back and you look at the game and you dissect the game, and man, it was bad. I mean, there's just not an honest way to put it other than it was bad. You go back and you look at the offensive side of the ball. The quarterback had 87 yards, I believe it was, in the first half on 8 of 10 passing. But if you dissect that, 13 of those yards was a meaningless pass with 5 seconds left in the first half. 64 yards of it came on Albert Okwuegbunam's 8-yard catch and run. And then you go back and look at the rest of it. He was, 6 of 10 for 10 yards passing in the first half? Yeah. That's unacceptable. Flat out unacceptable. You got a quarterback who's throwing behind the sticks every time because he's afraid to pull the trigger. When's the last time you saw the Denver Broncos run a slant? He's afraid of in-breaking routes. And it's a liability for this football team. Teams know how to defend the Denver Broncos. Take away the out-breaking routes, and there's nothing they can do about it.
I also noticed, again, when you look at the final rushing numbers, 18 for 96, averaging 5.3 per carry. And I know that the coaching staff doesn't always look at the yards per carry as a big determiner, but certainly you were having some success running the ball. Even up to that point, you had 9 rushing attempts in the first half when you were only down by 10 points. And we know kind of what the function of this team needs to be. And so I am perplexed, really, by the way the Broncos say they want to do things and then just don't really do them. They say they care about running the ball. They show that in the Dallas game. Then they come back against the Eagles at home when you have altitude at your disposal where you can wear down a defensive line with these 2 very physical running backs, and you just sort of abandon it. And amazingly, we kind of joked during the week. We're saying, well, when Pat Shurmur is calling the plays and they get down by multiple scores, he just abandons the run and just goes straight to pass. And they, of course, had 36 passing attempts in this game as a result.
37. One of them was a sack.
Right. But the point being that it was Mike Shula calling the plays. So it was almost like the same philosophy, even if it was a different play caller.
Everybody was talking about Shula replacing Shurmur. We need to fire Shurmur. And you look at just more of the same. By the way, Mike Shula was coordinating the offense from the sideline and not the box. And to me, that's a huge mistake. But they must not have felt confident in their ability to relay in plays. There are a lot of things. You look at the game plan yesterday, they just scratch your head. You didn't do anything. You're passing behind the sticks. You should have passed ahead of the sticks to open things up for the run game early. Should have stuck with the run game. That was working, by the way. The Jerry Jeudy had 1 run for 3 yards, but other than that, the running backs, Gordon was averaging 5 a carry. Javonte, I believe, was 6 a carry, although most of his came on 2 carries.
I mean, in the end, he was having success.
But, you know, his are boomer bust, though. You get a bunch of zeros, and then you get a huge one, whereas Melvin Gordon.
But that's the thing is, you just keep doing it because eventually it's like playing the slot machine.
When you're ahead on the sticks, that's when you run Javonte. Between the 20s and ahead on the sticks.
And you could crush me all you want on the gambler's fallacy that eventually it's going to hit. But Javonte Williams does eventually hit.
Well, I mean, on a long enough timeline, anybody doubling their bet is eventually going to win the money, but it just depends on how long the timeline is.
Right.
Yes, the problem is that does that work? Is that enough to score points? And you go back and you look and you know, you get a 64-yard explosive play and come away with a field goal.
Brutal.
That's a wrong answer.
You got shut down and goal to go multiple times. Like I said, 1 and 5 in the red zone. I mean,
Teddy Bridgewater did not complete a pass. Finally completed 1 in the red zone. I'm sorry, but he didn't have one until the last drive, I believe it was. Didn't have a completed pass in the red zone. He's incapable of executing an NFL offense in the red zone, and it's the reason Carolina gave up on him. Carolina is paying him twice what Denver is paying him this year for him to be gone, so that they could trot Sam Darnold out.
And yet, statistically, and I know that this doesn't mean a lot to you right now, and it certainly doesn't mean a lot as a result of this loss, he's still one of the best quarterbacks the Broncos have had since Peyton Manning. Now, that's also saying a lot about those quarterbacks.
Take away the garbage time, and he's not.
Okay. Point being, they can still find a way to win with him. Like, and I know that right now you can it doesn't feel that way. But you just mentioned with the standings where they're at. And I'm not trying to intentionally go silver linings on this, but where the standings are at, the three teams behind the Chiefs right now all have 5 wins, including the Broncos, and the Broncos have 5 games in division on the other side of the bye. So again, it's very frustrating. Super missed opportunity, especially at home, against a team that was 3-6 coming in, that was very inconsistent playing. This was, again, a total breakdown, all 3 phases, and that's where you wondered about the week of prep coming in. You know, the questions about the coaching staff, the questions about what's going on with this team, because you shouldn't miss the details. Like this significantly, you go off that Cowboys win, you're trying to carry momentum, and you looked like you just tried to show up and play and hope that the Eagles didn't really put up a fight.
Yeah, that's
what it looked like. I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
No, it does. I mean, the players were out there mostly fighting, unless there was a fumble and you needed to make a tackle. But
okay, schematically then.
But I felt like the players were trying to execute it. They just, you're just in a bad position all the time. Why were you dialing up so much C1 after the players had asked to go back to other things and it worked? I understand trying to blow up the mesh point in the run game, and they tried to do that a few times, and they kind of got away from it and ran contain. The problem with running contain is you have Jonathan Cooper on the outside, who's a pass rusher and not really setting the edge with that well. And then you had, after Baron Browning got hurt, it really went downhill because Curtis Robinson is not an NFL caliber player. No. He's just not.
But you're also talking about linebacker 5, 6.
Yeah, I mean
at this point.
But at that point, I'm just saying, like your game plan hinges on using that guy to be able to stop him. You got to have a better quality player at that point than Curtis Robinson. Avery Williamson's wasn't capable of getting up to speed.
I guess not.
So that, to me, that was the larger problem. We got to get
to the fumble. And
let me get to that in a minute. Devontae Smith scored that touchdown. That was great defense by Surtain. You could not play that any better. It was just a great throw and an even better catch. Jalen Hurts made a money throw. I'm giving flowers where they're deserved. Jalen Hurts made a money throw, and Devontae Smith made an incredible play on the ball.
He made a money throw on Quez Watkins, too, in the end zone that Quez just decided to drop. But that was another brilliant throw from Jalen Hurts. He had a hell of a game.
He did. He had a great game. The Broncos made him look like a serviceable quarterback.
I mean, he's better than that.
I had to keep my shtick up.
I know. Let's get to the fumble. That is going to be the thing burning up sports talk radio. Melvin Gordon, 4th and 1, would have converted it. Fumbled the ball.
Well, did convert it, but fumbled the ball.
Yeah. But I mean, in the end, doesn't matter. You fumbled the ball. So give me your thoughts, your impressions, including Teddy Bridgewater and his lack of attempt to really slow down Darius Slay.
It was the right play call, and it was executed well. And then Melvin Gordon did what Melvin Gordon unfortunately does and has been the knock on his career. There are three running backs since 2015 that have 50 touchdowns in the league. They're active running backs. All right, Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott, Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon is a good running back, but the knock on him has been fumbles, and it's been at the worst possible times. Yeah. And that's not to say Javonte hasn't fumbled. Javonte fumbled against the Jets. He fumbled against Washington, although it wasn't official on the box score, but he did fumble against Washington right before Melvin fumbled against Washington. It's just an absolutely critical, inexcusable fumble from Melvin Gordon. I think that got glossed over a little bit in the aftermath of Darius Slay picking it up and making the play on it, and seeing Teddy Bridgewater make absolutely no effort whatsoever to even impede the progress of Slay.
How do you feel like players in the locker room are going to respond to that?
Oh, you're going to see it when you do film study. You're going to pull it up, and they're going to see it. And there's going to be. I mean, I'm sure most of them have seen it over. I can tell you, I know some of them have seen it over the Twitter and all that kind of stuff with all the screen grabs.
Oh, I mean, it's everywhere, right?
Yeah, it's rough because you're asking guys, everybody else out there, to put their body on the line. You're asking them to go out there and do something. So just stand in front. You don't have to make the tackle, just impede his progress. In fact, Melvin Gordon was on the verge of making the tackle when Teddy's lack of effort kind of created a pick that kept him from being able to catch Slay.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you didn't know any better, you thought he was running protection.
Yeah.
No offense, Teddy, but it looked like you're running protection
the
for
reverse
Darius.
angle, and I don't know if you've seen it, there's a reverse angle that is way worse. The first angle is bad. You look at the reverse angle, and you can see that his explanation about I was trying to turn him back inside did not make sense. You're the quarterback. There's probably no one behind you anyway. You're the first back in the ball. That can't be your mindset. You've been playing the game how long? You got to stand in front of the guy. And then you go back and you look at all the times that John Elway and Peyton Manning on video, those all got floated out last night, made tackles on fumbles or interception returns. And it just hurts because that guy is supposed to be the leader of your football team. And you can do all the little things. You know, you could do all the, I'm going to show up and I'm going to pray with you after the game because you missed the prayer circle. I called you on your daughter's birthday. You can do all those things. You know who else did those things? Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez did all those things. Remember when Mark Sanchez was here? Oh, yeah. Mark Sanchez was absolutely that guy. All right? The problem is when the game is on the line, Mark Sanchez threw interceptions. The problem was when the game is on the line, Teddy Bridgewater had the chance to impede a season-defining play and didn't. And whatever the mental process is that went through his head, because I can't speak for Teddy Bridgewater, I'm not Teddy Bridgewater. Whatever the thought process that went through his head was the wrong one, and the Broncos' season probably hangs in the balance because of it.
Yeah, it was a 14-point swing. The Broncos were at least in field goal range, so they could have said a 10-point swing. But the point being, you were only down one score. That completely deflated the entire team. I don't care if you had another quarter left. And by the way, Teddy Bridgewater's that offense isn't built to come back from 14 points in the fourth quarter.
Well, that's the problem, though. That's the problem with this football team in a nutshell right here. After that play, you were only down 2 scores, and you had an entire quarter to go.
And you were getting the ball back.
And you knew that you are not capable of coming back from that.
Everybody knew.
A 2-score deficit. That's it.
The defense knew. The offense knew. Everybody knew.
You are not capable of coming. The entire stadium knew. They started leaving at that point. You knew you were incapable of coming back from a 2-score deficit with over a quarter still to go.
And he almost hit Jerry Jeudy on that out and up that he was trying to get
right.
That they just couldn't.
Miscommunication on the thing.
But he was wide open.
Wide open.
Would have trotted into the end zone, and that would have changed the entire trajectory of things. They've been back within a score.
And it's just missed plays. It's not. You can go back and look at all the missed opportunities that game. Javonte Williams touchdown getting called back due to a holding by the tight ends, which, by the way, is the most penalized tight end room in the league. The Broncos are. You go back and you look at the blocked field goal. It would have changed some of the perceptive on that, because then at that point, all you needed, if you get that field goal, all you need was another field goal. It's an 8-point game.
Yep.
So there were. It's.
Well, that's why I started out saying
the way.
Inches.
It is. If Vic Fangio came in to this team talking about death by inches, and it's apropos that he's probably going to be on his way out the door because of it too.
We will spend most of the week reacting to this game via Broncos Country Tonight.com. So you're going to want to check us out there, Broncos Country Tonight.com. We'll be back on the TV show coming up next week. For Benjamin Allbright, I'm Ryan Edwards. Thanks for watching.